The Vrax fleet emerged from FTL space like a swarm of angry insects. 200 warships, each one bristling with weapons that could crack planets. They formed into attack formations with practiced precision, moving toward the Coalition border stations with clear intent. Coalition Admiral Thexer watched them come from the bridge of his flagship, the Resolute Dawn. His scaled hands gripped the command chair tightly. All ships, battle stations, raise shields, and charge weapons. His fleet numbered 70 ships. Good ships, well-trained crews, but badly outnumbered. Behind them, 3 civilian stations housed over 40,000 souls. Evacuation was impossible. There wasn't enough time. "Sir, the Vrax are broadcasting," his communications officer reported. "Let me hear it." A harsh voice filled the bridge, speaking Coalition standard with contempt. "Coalition forces, this is War Leader Krauth. You will surrender the border stations and withdraw immediately. Refuse, and we will take them by force." Admiral Thexer's tail lashed in anger. "Open a channel." When the light blinked ready, he spoke clearly. "War Leader Krauth, these stations are protected by Coalition law. Any attack will be considered an act of war against all member species." "War?" Krauth's laughter was ugly. "The Coalition grows soft. Your fleets are scattered. Your defense is weak. Today we take what should have been ours decades ago." The channel cut off. The Vrax fleet accelerated. "They're really doing this," Thexer's first officer said quietly. "Send emergency broadcasts to all Coalition channels," Thexer ordered. "Any ships in range, we need immediate support." Thousands of light years away in Earth's construction zone Delta 7, Shin Ara received the broadcast. She immediately routed it to Admiral Cho's command center. "They're attacking," Shin Ara reported, her voice tight. "The Vrax opened fire 3 minutes ago." On the tactical display, red symbols showed Vrax positions. Blue symbols showed Coalition forces, already taking damage. Yellow symbols marked civilian stations, vulnerable and exposed. "Coalition casualties?" Admiral Cho asked. 4 ships destroyed in the first wave. Civilian shields are holding, but they won't last long under sustained fire. Commander Park Min-ho stood beside the tactical table, watching the battle unfold in real time. "The Coalition fleet is fighting hard, but they're outmatched. War Leader Krauth knows what he's doing." "How long until Coalition reinforcements arrive?" Lee Hyun asked. 13 days at their FTL speeds, Park Min-ho replied. "The civilian stations won't last 13 hours, Dr. Kang Soo-ho observed. Admiral Cho Yuna stood silent, watching the display. Every few seconds, another blue symbol flickered and died. Coalition ships fighting bravely, dying helplessly, and behind them, those yellow symbols. 40,000 civilians. "Admiral," Shin Ara said, "we're receiving more broadcasts. The Coalition is calling for any available ships, any species, any fleet." "Have they specifically requested Earth's assistance?" Cho Yuna asked. "No, ma'am. The broadcast is general." Of course it was. The Coalition had dismissed Earth's military capabilities. Why would they ask for help from a species they considered useless? Kim Ji-won looked at the Admiral. "We could save them." "We could," Cho Yuna agreed. "But the moment we intervene, we reveal everything. 20 years of secrecy. 20 years of strategic advantage. Gone." "Is strategic advantage worth 40,000 lives?" Kim Ji-won asked. It was the question that defined everything, the question that would determine what humanity truly was. Lee Hyun stepped forward. "Admiral, permission to speak freely?" "Granted. We built the Baekdu to protect humanity. But what kind of humanity will we be if we hide while thousands die? What kind of people watch children burn because revealing our strength is inconvenient?" "The practical kind," Park Min-ho said quietly. "The kind that survives. If we reveal ourselves too soon, we lose our advantage. We might need that advantage someday to protect Earth itself." "And if we hide now," Lee Hyun countered, "what will we tell ourselves later? That we let them die, for tactical reasons? That their lives mattered less than our secret?" The command center fell silent except for Shin Ara's quiet updates on the battle. Another Coalition ship destroyed. Civilian shields at 60%. the Vraks pressing their advantage with ruthless efficiency. Dr. Kang Suho cleared his throat. For what it's worth, Admiral, the Baekdu is ready. Not fully tested, not fully calibrated, but operational. We can fight. Lieutenant Nam's fighter wing? Cho Yuna asked. Ready, Kang Suho confirmed. She's been training her pilots for months. They're as prepared as they'll ever be. Main weapons? The reality anchor arrays are functional. Graviton shields are at full power. Quantum drive is ready for combat jump. Cho Yuna looked at each of them in turn. Lee Hyun, determined. Kim Ji-won, worried but resolute. Park Min-ho, conflicted. Kang Suho, calm. Shin Ara, watching the battle with tears in her eyes. Show me the civilian stations, Cho Yuna ordered. The display shifted, zooming in on the 3 stations. The tactical readout showed shield strength, population numbers, damage assessments. But the cameras showed something more. People pressed against windows, watching the battle. Children held by parents who knew they might die. Faces of every coalition species united in fear. One station rotated slowly, and through its transparent sections, Cho Yuna could see a school. Young beings, barely old enough to understand what war meant, huddled together while teachers tried to comfort them. The Vraks are targeting the military fleet now, Shin Ara reported, but war leader Krauth has detached squadrons toward the stations. They'll be in range in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. After that, those children would die. Those families would burn. And Earth would have maintained its precious secrecy. Admiral Cho Yuna had commanded ships for 30 years. She'd fought pirates and smugglers. She'd explored unknown space and made first contact with hostile species. She'd trained for this moment, her entire career. The moment when command meant making the impossible choice. But really there was no choice at all, there never had been. Commander Park, she said quietly. You're right that maintaining our advantage might protect Earth someday. You're absolutely right. But? Park Min-ho asked. But if we have to become monsters to maintain that advantage, then what exactly are we protecting? She straightened, her decision made. Earth isn't just a planet. It's an idea. The idea that we protect those who can't protect themselves. That we stand up when others fall. That we do the right thing even when it costs us. She turned to face her officers. If we abandon those people to preserve our secret, we abandon everything that makes us human, and I won't do that. I won't let Earth become something that wins by being worse than our enemies. Lee Hyun smiled. Kim Ji-won closed her eyes in relief. Even Park Min-ho nodded slowly, his conflict resolved. Dr. Kang, prepare the Baekdu for immediate launch, Admiral Cho ordered. Lieutenant Nam, scramble all fighter wings. Commander Park, plot a quantum jump directly into the battle zone. Yes, ma'am. The responses came sharp and immediate. Shin Ara, open a channel to the coalition fleet. Channel open, Admiral. Cho Yuna's voice was steady and clear. Coalition fleet, this is Admiral Cho Yuna of the Earth vessel Baekdu. We're inbound to your position. Hold on, help is coming. There was a moment of confusion on the other end, then Admiral Thexer's voice, disbelieving. Earth vessel? But your species has no military ships capable of... We lied, Cho Yuna interrupted. We'll explain later. Right now, just stay alive. Baekdu out. Throughout the massive supercarrier, alert klaxons began to sound. Thousands of crew members rushed to battle stations. The quantum drive began to hum, building power for a jump that would shatter every assumption the galaxy held about humanity. In the command center, Admiral Cho Yuna watched the tactical display one last time before they jumped. Those yellow symbols, those 40,000 lives. All hands, she announced over ship-wide communications. This is the Admiral. Today we reveal ourselves to the galaxy. Today we show them what humanity truly is. Not basic, not useless, but protectors, defenders, the ones who stand when others cannot. She nodded to Kang Suho. Take us to war, Doctor. Let's save some lives. The quantum drive engaged, reality folded, and the Baekdu vanished from Earth space, carrying humanity's truth toward the stars. The galaxy was about to learn what humans really meant when they said they'd fight for what was right. The shuttle passed through 7 different security checkpoints before reaching Construction Zone Delta 7. Each checkpoint used different verification methods: genetic scans, quantum signatures, psychological profiles. No alien technology could breach this facility because human security didn't rely on technology alone. Admiral Cho Yuna waited in the observation deck, watching the massive shape that floated in the darkness beyond the reinforced windows. Even after 3 years of overseeing its construction, the sight still took her breath away. The CSS Baekdu stretched nearly 3 kilometers from bow to stern. Its hull reflected no light, seeming to absorb the stars themselves. Unlike the sleek, elegant designs favored by coalition species, the Baekdu looked brutal and purposeful. Every line suggested power held in check. "Admiral," Lee Hyun said, entering with his team, "the Council rejected our application as expected." Cho Yuna didn't turn from the window. "Did they suspect anything?" "Nothing. They think we're primitive." "Good." She finally looked at them, her sharp eyes taking in their expressions. "Commander Park, your assessment?" Park Min-ho stepped forward. 17 delegates accessed our technical files for deeper analysis. They're curious about how we achieved FTL travel with our limited understanding of physics. None of them connected it to anything more advanced. "Because they're looking in the wrong direction," Dr. Kang Soo-ho said, emerging from a side corridor. The chief scientist looked tired, his hair disheveled from another long shift. "They assume there's only one path to advanced technology. They can't imagine we found different paths entirely." Kim Ji-won moved to the window, staring at the Baekdu. "How much longer until she's ready?" "The quantum drive cores are complete," Kang Soo-ho replied. "We're finishing the reality anchor weapon arrays. Another 2 months for full combat readiness, though we could launch her now if necessary." "It won't be necessary," Cho Yuna said firmly. "We've waited 20 years. We can wait 2 more months, 20 years. Lee Hyun remembered when Project Taeguk began just 5 years after first contact. He'd been a junior officer then, watching humanity's leaders gather in secret to make a terrible decision. The galaxy had welcomed humanity with condescension, advanced species viewing primitive newcomers. They'd shared basic technology, the kind they considered safe for lesser species. Faster than light travel, fusion power, force fields, all of it carefully limited, carefully controlled. But humanity had a gift the aliens never expected. Humans didn't follow instructions well. "Show them the fighter wing," Cho Yuna ordered. Kang Soo-ho pressed a control. The observation deck's windows polarized, becoming screens that displayed the Baekdu's internal hangar. Hundreds of small craft sat in neat rows, each one a masterpiece of engineering that would make coalition designers weep. "Lieutenant Nam Hyun is running test flights today," Kang Soo-ho said. As if summoned by her name, one of the fighters lifted from the deck. It moved unlike anything in coalition space. No visible propulsion, no exhaust. It simply moved, dancing through 3-dimensional space with impossible grace. "Graviton manipulation," Kim Ji-won breathed. "She's flying with gravity itself." "The coalition uses graviton shields," Park Min-ho observed. "Why haven't they developed graviton propulsion?" "Because they're thinking like coalition species," Kang Soo-ho explained. "They saw gravitons as defensive tools. We saw them as offensive. They built shields. We built weapons that ignore shields and engines that ignore physics." On the screen, Nam Hyun's fighter accelerated to speeds that would kill any organic pilot. Except the fighter's graviton field extended into the cockpit, creating a bubble where inertia worked differently. Nam Hyun experienced no G-forces no matter how violently she maneuvered. "The coalition gave us force field technology thinking it was safe," Lee Hyun said. "They never imagined we'd use it like this." "They gave us everything we needed," Cho Yuna agreed, "then dismissed us when we didn't immediately master their methods. They never watched closely after that, never noticed what we were really doing. The strategy had been brilliant in its simplicity: show the galaxy humanity's real technology, the old chemical rockets and primitive computers. Let them laugh. Let them lose interest. Meanwhile, in hidden facilities across Earth's solar system, humanity's best minds worked on something else entirely. They'd taken every piece of alien technology, torn it apart and rebuilt it using human thinking. Lateral thinking, unconventional approaches, Solutions that made sense to human minds but would never occur to alien designers. The quantum drive was the perfect example. Coalition species use quantum entanglement for communications. They'd never thought to use it for propulsion because their physics said it was impossible. Human physicists had different ideas about what was possible. Dr. Kang, Cho Yuna said, "Show them the main drive." They left the observation deck and descended into the Baekdu's core. The ship was a city unto itself, with corridors wide enough to drive vehicles through and compartments larger than buildings. Thousands of personnel worked throughout the vessel, preparing her for launch. The quantum drive chamber sat at the heart of the ship, a sphere 50 meters in diameter that pulsed with barely contained energy. Streams of data flowed across holographic displays, showing equations that would baffle Coalition scientists. The Coalition's FTL drives fold space, Kang Suho explained. They push against the universe to create a bubble of normal space that moves faster than light. It works, but it's slow and energy intensive. And our drive? Kim Ji-won asked, though she already knew. We don't fold space. We quantum tunnel through it. Kang Suho gestured at the glowing sphere. Instead of pushing against the universe, we convince the universe that we're already at our destination. Reality adjusts to match our quantum state. That sounds impossible, Lee Hyun said. It is impossible by Coalition physics, but we're not using Coalition physics, Kang Suho smiled. We're using human stubbornness and a complete disregard for what we're told can't be done. A chime sounded through the ship. Admiral Cho checked her communicator and frowned. We have an incoming priority message from Coalition Space. They returned to the command center, where Shin-Ara manned the communications station. The young officer looked worried. Admiral, there's a situation developing in the outer reaches. The Vrax Empire is massing forces along the border. The Vrax? Park Minho leaned forward. They haven't been active for years. They're active now. Shin-Ara brought up tactical displays showing hundreds of Vrax warships gathering in contested space. Coalition intelligence estimates they'll attack within days. Cho Yuna studied the display in silence. The Vrax Empire was one of the Coalition's greatest threats, a militaristic society with technology that rivaled the best the galaxy could offer. If they attacked, thousands would die. What's the Coalition's response? She asked. They're mobilizing their defense fleets, Shin-Ara reported. But their closest forces are 2 weeks away at standard FTL speeds. 2 weeks. The Vrax would attack long before then. Lee Hyun looked at Admiral Cho. We could be there in hours. We're not ready, Kang Suho warned. The weapon systems aren't fully tested. The shields need calibration. The crew needs more training. But we could make it operational, Cho Yuna said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Kang Suho admitted. If we had to. The Coalition dismissed us, Park Minho said quietly. They called us useless. Why should we risk our secret to save them? It was the question they'd all been avoiding. 20 years of secrecy. 20 years of careful planning. All of it would be wasted if they revealed themselves too soon. But 20 years of planning couldn't erase what humanity was at its core. Admiral Cho Yuna made her decision. Monitor the situation. If the Varax attack, if Coalition lives are threatened. She paused, looking at the faces around her. Then we show them what humanity really is. In the darkness beyond the windows, the Baekdu waited, ready to prove that basic and useless were the last words anyone should use for humans. The council chamber stretched wide and tall, filled with beings from 40 different worlds. Captain Lee Hyun stood at the center platform, his hands clasped behind his back, watching the alien representatives whisper among themselves. Beside him, Engineer Kim Ji-won held a data tablet, her face carefully blank despite the mocking tones that echoed through the chamber. Let me understand this correctly, Council Speaker Vothran said, his feathered crest rising in what Lee Hyun had learned was amusement. Your fastest vessels still use chemical propulsion for atmospheric flight? Yes, Speaker, Lee Hyun replied evenly. A ripple of laughter moved through the chamber. The Galactic Coalition had standards and Earth's technology fell far below them. 47 years had passed since first contact, and humanity still struggled with what the galaxy considered basic science. Vothran tapped his clawed finger against the armrest. And your primary weapons remain kinetic projectiles. Bullets, I believe you call them? Railguns and missiles for space combat, Kim Ji-won added quietly. But yes, kinetic weapons form our primary arsenal. More laughter. A delegate from the methane-breathing creche called out, "Do you also fight with sticks and stones?" Lee Hyun kept his expression neutral. Behind him, Commander Park Min-ho stood silent, observing everything. Park had insisted on coming, despite having no official role in the presentation. Intelligence officers had their reasons. "Your fusion reactors," Vothran continued, reading from a report, "are inefficient by our standards. Your artificial intelligence is primitive. Your faster-than-light drives are among the slowest in known space." He looked up, his large eyes glittering. "Tell me, Captain Lee Hyun, why should the Coalition grant Earth military partnership status when your species offers nothing of value?" The words stung, but Lee Hyun had expected them. Earth had prepared for this moment for years. "We offer determination, Speaker. We offer loyalty. We offer—" "Determination?" Vothran interrupted. "The Vrax Empire has determination. They also have graviton cannons and quantum shields. What happens when they turn that determination toward Coalition space? Will you defend us with your primitive bullets?" Kim Ji-won stepped forward. "Our technology may appear basic, but we've made advances in certain fields. Our medical techniques are agricultural methods." "Agricultural methods?" A delegate laughed outright. "Should we plow fields against the Vrax warships?" Vothran raised his wing for silence. "The Coalition appreciates Earth's cultural contributions. Your music is pleasant. Your literature is quaint. But military partnership requires military capability." He glanced at his data screen. "I see here that your largest warship masses only 400,000 tons. The Coalition's standard cruiser is 3 times that size. Quality over quantity," Lee Hyun said carefully. "Quality?" Vothran's crest flattened. "Captain, your vessels would be destroyed in seconds against real military threats. We cannot risk Coalition lives by partnering with a species that uses technology our ancestors abandoned millennia ago." The other delegates murmured agreement. Lee Hyun noticed several of them checking their personal devices, their expressions curious. Something about Earth's data interested them, even if they mocked it publicly. "The Council's decision is clear," Vothran announced. "Earth's application for military partnership is denied. You will maintain your status as observer species. You may attend council sessions and participate in cultural exchanges, but you will have no vote on military or strategic matters." He paused. "This decision is final, unless Earth demonstrates significant technological advancement. Given your current trajectory, we estimate that will take approximately 300 of your years." 300 years. The chamber fell silent, waiting for Earth's response. Lee Hyun bowed his head slightly. "The Earth delegation accepts the Council's decision. We thank you for your consideration." "That's it?" Vothran seemed surprised. "No protest? No demands for reconsideration? Would protest change your mind, Speaker?" "No. Then we accept your judgment." Lee Hyun turned to leave, Kim Ji-won and Park Min-ho following. Behind them, the delegates began talking among themselves. Lee Hyun caught fragments of conversation. Most of it was dismissive: humans, basic technology, useless for military purposes, better suited for art and farming. In the corridor outside, Kim Ji-won finally let her frustration show. 300 years. They basically told us to go away and come back when we're civilized. They told us exactly what we wanted them to believe, Park Min-ho said quietly. Kim Ji-won looked at him sharply. "You think this went well?" "Phase 1 complete," Park Min-ho confirmed, his voice barely above a whisper. "They think we're primitive. They think we're harmless. They've stopped watching us closely." Lee Hyun walked faster, putting distance between them and the chamber. "Keep your voice down, Commander. These halls have ears." They reached their transport vessel, a small shuttle that looked outdated compared to the sleek alien craft surrounding it. Once inside with the door sealed, Lee Hyun allowed himself a small smile. "How many were scanning our data?" he asked. Park Min-ho consulted his own device. 17 delegates accessed detailed files about our technology. They're curious despite their mockery. They want to understand how we managed faster-than-light travel with such primitive science. "Let them look," Kim Ji-won said. "Everything we showed them was real. Old fusion reactors, slow FTL drives, kinetic weapons. All true, Lee Hyun agreed, and all completely irrelevant to our actual capabilities." The shuttle lifted off, leaving the council station behind. Through the viewport, Earth hung in the distance, a blue marble against the black of space. Somewhere in orbit around that planet, hidden in a construction zone that no alien sensor had ever penetrated. Humanity's real answer to the galaxy waited. Admiral Cho will want a full report, Park Min-ho said. Tell her the council bought it completely, Lee Hyun replied. They think we're basic. They think we're useless. They'll keep thinking that until we're ready. Kim Ji-won looked out at Earth. And when will we be ready? Soon, Lee Hyun said. Very soon. In the depths of space near Earth's moon, something massive moved through the shadows of the orbital construction zone. No coalition sensors detected it. No alien observers saw it. The galaxy had dismissed humanity as primitive and harmless, unworthy of serious attention. That dismissal was exactly what humanity needed. The supercarrier Baekdu hung in the darkness, waiting. Inside its vast hull, technology beyond the galaxy's imagination prepared for the day when Earth would show its true face. That day would come soon enough, but first let them laugh. Let them mock. Let them believe humans were basic and useless. The truth would be so much sweeter for it. Space tore open like a wound. Reality screamed as the Baekdu forced itself into existence where it hadn't been a moment before. The quantum drive's emergence created ripples in space-time that coalition sensors had never registered before. On the bridge of the Resolute Dawn, Admiral Thexir's tactical officer stared at his display in shock. Sir, massive quantum distortion bearing 273. Something just appeared. Classification? Thexir demanded, hoping desperately for reinforcements. Unknown. The signature doesn't match any coalition vessel type. Mass reading is, sir, it can't be right. The computer says 3 million tons. 3 million tons, impossible. The largest coalition warship massed 1 million tons, and those were rare. Show me. The view screen shifted and every being on the bridge froze. The Baekdu hung in space like a dark god. 3 kilometers of purpose-built warship, its hull seeming to drink the starlight. It didn't look sleek or elegant like coalition vessels. It looked like something built to end arguments permanently. What in the void is that? Thexir's first officer whispered. Before anyone could answer, the Baekdu's hangar bays opened. Hundreds of small craft poured out, moving in ways that violated every principle of known physics. They didn't accelerate. They simply moved, dancing through three-dimensional space with impossible grace. War leader Krauth saw them too. On his flagship's bridge, his warriors growled in confusion. What species commands that vessel? Unknown, war leader, his sensor officer reported. But those fighter craft are using graviton manipulation for propulsion. Advanced technology. Krauth bared his fangs in a savage smile. Advanced technology means advanced prizes. All ships divide forces. Half continue to the stations. Half engage this newcomer. Show them the price of interfering in Vrak's conquests. 50 Vrak's warships peeled off, accelerating toward the Baekdu. Their weapons charged, ready to demonstrate the superiority of Vrak's military might. On the Baekdu's bridge, Admiral Cho Yuna watched them come. Lieutenant Nam, your pilots are cleared to engage. Show them what Earth builds. In the lead fighter, Nam Hyun grinned fiercely. Behind her, 200 pilots flew in perfect formation, waiting for her command. All wings, weapons free. Let's introduce ourselves. The Earth fighters met the Vrak's fleet head-on. What followed made coalition observers question their understanding of physics. The fighters moved like living things, like they thought instead of flew. They dodged plasma bolts that should have vaporized them, sliding through space on graviton currents. Their weapons were small but devastating, firing projectiles that punched through Vrak's shields like they weren't there. How are they doing that? Admiral Thexir demanded, watching a single Earth fighter destroy 3 Vrak's corvettes in seconds. The projectiles have reality anchor properties, his science officer reported, voice shaking. They temporarily stabilize spacetime, preventing energy shields from forming. I've never seen anything like it. Nam Hyun rolled her fighter through a maneuver that should have killed her from G-forces, but the graviton field inside her cockpit kept her perfectly safe. She lined up on a Vrak's destroyer and fired. Her weapons tore through its hull, and the massive ship exploded in a flower of flame. Heian to Baekdu, she called. Fighter wing has eliminated 23 hostiles. Minimal damage to our forces. Acknowledged, Admiral Cho replied. Return to defensive screen. Let them see what the big guns can do. The Vrak's fleet was reeling now, confused and hurt. War leader Krauth snarled orders. All ships focus fire on the large vessel. Concentrated bombardment, maximum yield. 100 Virax warships turned their weapons on the Bekdu. Plasma cannons, antimatter torpedoes, kinetic impactors. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The Bekdu's graviton shields flared to life. The Vrax weapons struck and simply stopped. The plasma dissipated. The torpedoes detonated harmlessly. The kinetic rounds fell away like rain on glass. The Bekdu sat in space, untouched, while enough energy to kill a planet washed over its shields without effect. Impossible, Krauth whispered. Target their flagship, Admiral Cho ordered. Reality anchor array, full power. Let's show them what happens when you threaten children. The Bekdu's main weapons charged. Unlike conventional weapons, they didn't fire energy or matter. They fired mathematics, complex equations made real that reached out and grabbed hold of space-time itself. War leader Krauth felt it when the reality anchor took hold. Space around his flagship suddenly became rigid, fixed. His FTL drives couldn't engage. His shields flickered and failed. The universe itself held his ship in place. What is this? He roared. This is Earth. Admiral Cho's voice came over every Vrax channel. And you just threatened our friends. The Bekdu's secondary weapons opened fire. Railguns that accelerated projectiles to relativistic speeds. Missile pods that launched seekers guided by quantum-entangled targeting systems. Energy weapons that shouldn't exist based on known physics. Krauth's flagship died in seconds. The reality anchor held it in place while Earth's weapons tore it apart. The war leader's last thought was disbelief that such primitive technology could. Then there were no more thoughts. The remaining Vrax forces broke. They tried to run, but the Bekdu was faster. Its quantum drive engaged in micro-jumps, appearing beside fleeing ships before they could escape. Reality anchors pinned them in place. Weapons destroyed them methodically. In 10 minutes, the Vrax fleet ceased to exist. Admiral Thexer watched in stunned silence as the mysterious Earth vessel eliminated threats that had nearly destroyed his entire fleet. His tactical officer kept trying to update the display but couldn't keep up with the carnage. Sir, his communications officer said weakly, the Earthship is hailing us. Put them through. The view screen showed a human woman in a crisp military uniform. She looked tired but satisfied. Coalition fleet, this is Admiral Cho Yuna. Are your civilians safe? Safe, Thexer managed. Thanks to you. But I don't understand. Earth has no military vessels. You showed us your technology. Chemical rockets, primitive weapons. We showed you what we wanted you to see, Cho Yuna replied. We've been building this ship for 20 years, Admiral. Building it in secret while the galaxy dismissed us as basic and useless. Why? Thexer asked. Why hide such capability? Because we didn't know if we could trust you. Any of you. Cho Yuna's expression was serious. We're newcomers to the galaxy. Weak by your standards. If we'd shown our true strength too early, what would have stopped you from seeing us as threats instead of allies? So you lied. We protected ourselves, Cho Yuna corrected. Just like any species would. But when it mattered, when lives were at stake, we chose to reveal ourselves rather than let innocents die. Before Thexer could respond, another voice cut into the channel. Council Speaker Vothran, his feathered crest trembling. Admiral Cho Yuna, this is the Coalition Council. We are watching these events from Harmony's Gate Station. I must say, I am having difficulty processing what I'm seeing. I imagine you are, Speaker. Cho Yuna replied dryly. Given that you called our technology basic just 3 days ago. Vothran struggled for words. I was clearly mistaken. You were intentionally deceived, Cho Yuna said. We gave you exactly the information we wanted you to have. We let you underestimate us because it kept us safe while we prepared. Prepared for what? For the day when we could stand beside you as equals, Cho Yuna replied. Not as primitives begging for scraps, not as lesser beings grateful for your condescension, but as partners who bring unique capabilities to the Coalition. She gestured off-screen, and the view shifted to show the Bekdu's interior. Corridors filled with advanced technology. Labs where scientists worked on projects that would revolutionize galactic understanding. Engineering bays where impossible machines took shape. This is what humans do, Speaker. We don't follow the established paths. We find new ones. You gave us force fields and we built graviton drives. You gave us FTL theory and we built quantum tunneling engines. You gave us the basics and we turned them into breakthroughs because we think differently than you do. Captain Lee Hyun stepped into frame beside the Admiral. We're not basic, Speaker Vothran. We're creative. We're innovative. We solve problems in ways you never imagined because we come from a different perspective. Kim Ji-won joined them. And we're not useless. We just proved that by saving 40,000 lives you couldn't protect. The channel fell silent. Across coalition space, billions watched the transmission, seeing humanity's true face for the first time. Finally, Admiral Thexer spoke. Earth saved my fleet. Saved those stations. Whatever your reasons for hiding, whatever your methods, you came when it mattered. That's what I'll remember. Thank you, Admiral, Cho Yuna said quietly. No, Thexer replied. Thank you. Thank Earth. And tell your people that the Coalition owes them a debt we can never fully repay. Admiral Cho Yuna looked directly into the camera, knowing that the whole galaxy watched. Earth doesn't want payment, Admiral. We want partnership. Real partnership between equals who respect each other. She smiled slightly. We were called basic and useless. Now they've discovered humans were behind the Supercarrier. Let that be the lesson the galaxy remembers. Never underestimate those you dismiss. Never assume the quiet ones are weak. And never ever think that different means lesser. The emergency session of the Galactic Coalition Council had been called within hours of the battle's end. Delegates from 40 worlds filled the chamber, their voices raised in argument, confusion, and fear. At the center of it all stood Admiral Cho Yuna, flanked by Captain Lee Hyun and Engineer Kim Ji-won. Council Speaker Vothran called for order, his wing beats sharp against the podium. This session will come to order. We are here to address the matter of Earth's deception and the implications for coalition security. Deception? Admiral Thexer rose from his seat, his scales flushed with anger. They saved 40,000 lives. They stopped a Vrax invasion. What deception matters compared to that? The deception of hiding military capability that rivals the entire coalition fleet. Another delegate called out. How can we trust a species that lied to us for 20 years? Cho Yuna stepped forward, her voice calm and clear. We didn't lie, Counselor. We simply didn't tell you everything. There's a difference. You showed us primitive technology, Vothran said. Chemical rockets. Basic weapons. You made us believe. We showed you real technology, Kim Ji-won interrupted. Everything we demonstrated was genuine. We do use chemical propulsion for certain applications. We do have kinetic weapons in our arsenal. We never claimed those were our only capabilities. You implied it, a delegate argued. You assumed it, Lee Hyun countered. You saw technology you considered primitive and you stopped looking. You decided we were lesser and dismissed us. That wasn't our deception. That was your prejudice. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Vothran beat his wings for silence again. Regardless of terminology, Earth has revealed itself to possess advanced military technology hidden from coalition oversight. This represents a potential threat that must be addressed. A threat? Admiral Thexer's tail lashed. They just saved the outer reaches. They could have stayed hidden, let us die, and no one would have known they could help. Instead, they revealed themselves to save coalition lives. What kind of threat does that? Commander Park Min-ho stepped forward for the first time, his quiet voice cutting through the noise. If I may, Counsel, I am Park Min-ho, Earth Intelligence. I've operated in coalition space for 15 years. Operated? A delegate's eyes widened. You mean spied? I mean observed and assisted, Park Min-ho replied. And if you check your records, you'll find that Earth has been helping the coalition in small ways for years. Medical advances that we shared freely, agricultural techniques that improved food production, intelligence about pirate activities that we provided anonymously. He activated a holographic display showing hundreds of data points. Here, a vaccine for Krellian fever that saved millions. Earth scientists developed it. Here, a solution to soil contamination on 3 colony worlds. Earth engineers provided it. Here, intelligence that prevented 17 major smuggling operations. Earth agents gathered it. The chamber grew quiet as delegates examined the data. We've been contributing all along, Park Min-ho continued. Not for credit, not for status, because it was the right thing to do. But we protected ourselves by hiding our full capabilities because we learned the hard way that the galaxy respects power more than kindness. Dr. Kang Suho joined the group at the center. May I explain our technology, Council? I think understanding how we achieve these advances might help. Vothran nodded reluctantly. The coalition gave us the basics of force field technology, Kang Suho began. You assumed there was only one way to use it. We found 7 different applications, including graviton manipulation for propulsion and reality anchoring for weapons. He brought up technical schematics. You gave us quantum entanglement theory for communications. We developed quantum tunneling for FTL travel. You gave us fusion reactor designs. We created zero-point energy taps. In every case, we took your foundations and built something new because humans think differently. How differently? A delegate asked, genuinely curious now. You follow established scientific principles, Kim Ji-won explained. You build on proven theories. You advance through incremental improvements. That's logical and safe. Humans take risks, Lee Hyun added. We try things that might not work. We combine theories that don't seem compatible. We ask what if instead of why not. Sometimes we fail spectacularly, but sometimes we create breakthroughs. The Baekdu represents 20 years of human innovation, Cho Yuna said. But more than that, it represents what humans are. We're creative. We're stubborn. We don't accept limitations just because someone tells us they exist. Admiral Thexer stood again. I fought beside that ship. I saw what it could do. And I'll tell you what I learned about humans. He looked around the chamber. They're dangerous. Not because they're aggressive or warlike, but because they care. They care enough to risk everything to save people who dismiss them. That makes them the best kind of dangerous. The best kind? Fothran asked. The kind you want as allies instead of enemies. Thexer's voice was firm. The kind who stand and fight when others run. The kind who save children because it's right, not because it's profitable or strategic. A long silence fell over the chamber. Delegates looked at each other, processing everything they'd learned. Their view of humanity had been shattered and reformed in less than a day. Finally, an elder delegate from the creche spoke, his methane suit hissing softly. I have a question for Admiral Cho, a simple one. Ask, Cho Yuna replied. Why reveal yourselves? You could have let us face the Vraks alone, maintained your secret, protected your advantage. Why risk everything for us? Cho Yuna looked at the assembled delegates, at the representatives of 40 different worlds. Because those weren't just coalition citizens at those stations. They were people. Children who deserved to grow up, parents who deserved to see their families again. And humans don't calculate the value of lives based on strategic advantage. She paused, letting her words sink in. We built the Baekdu to protect Earth. But what is Earth worth if we become the kind of people who hide while others die? What is our technology worth if we only use it to protect ourselves? You could have demanded concessions, another delegate observed. Could have negotiated for status, for power, for resources in exchange for your help. We could have, Lee Hyun agreed. But that's not who we are. We help because it's right. We stand because others need us to. And if that makes us different from other species, then I'm proud of that difference. Kim Ji-won stepped forward. We know what it's like to be dismissed, to be considered lesser. We remember every condescending comment, every mocking laugh, every time we were told we weren't good enough. We remember all of it. Her voice grew stronger. But we're not offering this partnership out of resentment or to prove you wrong. We're offering it because despite everything, we believe in what the coalition represents. Unity, cooperation, different species working together for common good. That's worth protecting. Bothran looked down at his podium, his crest lowered. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet. I owe Earth an apology. I called your technology basic. Called you useless. I was wrong and I'm sorry. Apology accepted, Cho Yuna replied. But we weren't completely honest either. We're both responsible for the misunderstanding. The question now, Vothran continued, is what comes next. Earth has proven its capability, proven its character. The Council must decide how to proceed. I have a proposal, Admiral Thexer said. Not just military partnership. Full Council membership. Earth deserves a voice in coalition decisions. That's unprecedented, a delegate objected. Full membership requires majority approval and I'm calling for an immediate vote, Vothran interrupted. Earth saved coalition lives. Showed us technology that could revolutionize our entire civilization. Demonstrated the kind of character we claim to value. If that doesn't merit full membership, then what does? The chamber buzzed with conversation. Delegates consulted with their governments. Arguments flew back and forth. But slowly a consensus emerged. Very well, Vothran announced. All delegates in favor of granting Earth full coalition membership? Hands, wings, tentacles, and other appendages rose across the chamber. One by one, every single delegate voted in favor. The motion passes unanimously, Vothran declared. Earth is now a full member of the Galactic Coalition with all rights and responsibilities that entails. The chamber erupted in applause. Admiral Cho Yuna felt tears in her eyes but held them back. 20 years of secrecy, 20 years of planning, and now this. Thank you, Council, she said when the noise died down. Earth accepts this membership with gratitude and with a commitment to serve the Coalition's ideals. We'll share our technology, our innovations, our perspective, and in return we hope to learn from you as well. One more thing, Vothran said. The Coalition would like to formally request that the CSS Baekdu serve as flagship for a new joint defense initiative. A combined force of Coalition and Earth vessels, sharing technology and training. Cho Yuna smiled. Earth would be honored, Speaker. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy watched as humanity emerged from the shadows. The Baekdu became a symbol of what cooperation could achieve. Earth engineers worked alongside Coalition scientists. Human pilots trained alien crews in graviton flight techniques. The quantum drive technology was shared, studied, and gradually integrated into Coalition vessels.